everyone, I'm Anita of My Duke and I podcast, and hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. And if you're seeing the show for the very first time, be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and hit the notification bell so when an episode comes out, you will be the first to know. Oh Lord, what in the world is going on with this royal family? First it was Camilla last week, and now it is the Queen's former lady-in-waiting, also Prince William's godmother. It is amazing how a woman who runs a domestic abuse organization would have to subject herself to such insult, to such violation by any member of this royal family, and not to mention at an event that is supposed to uplift women. How in the world are you going to look at a black person and just assume the ethnicity of that black person? Like, because you're black, you do not belong. Because you're black, there's no way that you're from the United Kingdom. The audacity of Prince William's godmother. And that is why I said karma is visiting the royal family. The cat is out of the bag and it cannot go back in. They are being exposed for exactly who they are. It's incredible how this institution has, for 1,000 years, has been able to get away with the abuse, the robbing, the thieving, the dehumanization of people for all these years, and don't think that your day is going to come. I cannot tell you how sorry I am that this woman had to go through this type of violation by somebody from the royal family. Enough is enough. How many times are these people going to continue to do what they're doing and get away with it? And what they have to do is apologize to that woman publicly. That's what they have to do. And I saw a report where it says that Prince William said that racism has no place in their institution. But my goodness, did they take a long time to respond to the accusation? Shame on the royal family. Shame on that institution. Shame on the 1,000 years of abuse by that royal family. Last week, Camilla humiliated a child that is going to have to live with that story for the rest of her life because it's recorded in video. Can you imagine this child growing up and having to be told that Camilla couldn't even shake her hand because she was a black child? She had to be held up by her sleeve with 2 fingers like she was a piece of trash or something that was infected by some type of foreign object or some type of virus. When is enough enough by this royal family? Look at how They totally abused Meghan to the point where she felt like she did not want to live anymore. When is the world going to make the royal family accountable for their abuse of other human beings? When? How dare this woman touch that lady's hair? It seems like touching is a thing for these people. Touch that lady's hair. Questioned her ethnicity. Questioned where she came from. Like she couldn't be a part of the United Kingdom. She could not have been born there. What in the world is going on in that United Kingdom? They have to be put on blast and they have to be dragged. It is incredible that it took this amount of hours for us, the world, to get a response from the royal family. It took that type of dragging on Twitter for us to get a response from the royal family. But I'm telling them, gone are the days when they could sweep things under the rug, where people didn't have a voice. Thank God for social media, that we now can know exactly what happens at the moment, at the minute, at the second. Thank God for social media. People now have to be on their P's and Q's, because guess what? We are watching. And when you do something that is inappropriate, or you show your racism side, we're going to call you out on it. It's just incredible. I was about to send out my video, so happy. I enjoyed, Meghan's podcast, talking about it with such jubilation. And then I see this report and it just upsets me to the nth degree. My heart goes out to that woman. My heart hurts for that woman. She said what could have been a good event was a blur to her. And the length of time it took for somebody to reach out to her. They treated her like a nobody. Enough is enough. When are we going to say that we're not taking it anymore? When are we going to say that enough is enough, and that the royal family has to be held accountable for the racism that they showed people in the past, the stealing of people's wealth, the abuse of Meghan? Incredible. Just incredible. I have to calm down so that I could talk about archetypes and Meghan's event. So I will have to send a second video. It's just hard for me to sit back and say this is okay. Not when they almost drove Meghan to her death. Not when they, as she said in this quote here, let me read this quote, and this is troubling for me. She said this quote in her last podcast. She said, "What didn't you do to bury me? What didn't you do?" So which means that they did everything to destroy her. No wonder she had those ideations, those suicidal ideations, because they threw everything at her. But guess what she said? "But you forgot that I was a seed." I was a seed, and we know what happens to a seed. It rises from the dirt. It rises, it flourishes, and it blossoms. It branches out. And these people, somebody that was with Queen Elizabeth for all these years, around the royal family for all these years, The fish stinks from the head. It stinks from the head. This behavior is learned behavior. This behavior that that woman saw, that woman did, was things she saw and things that was acceptable, things that went unchecked, and she thought she had free will to do it, and now she is caught. Now it's exposed. The strength of that lady, let me get her name, God bless her. The strength of that lady, she was able to come out and expose them. Thanks to this lady for exposing these people for who they are. All these years that this woman was with the queen, they say birds of a feather flock together. That is a racist cesspool, that royal family, that royal institution. It is a racist cesspool. Let me get this lady's name. I totally forgot her name. And I had it down. Oh, yeah. Here it is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's Ngozi Fulani. That is her last name, Fulani. And she had the courage to step up and say, this is what I experienced. She had the courage to write down her experience with the royal family, with that woman, Miss Lady in Waiting, and expose them and showed the world. And then based on that, that is when, you know, people start putting pressure on the royal family. The news had it, the social media had it, and exposed them. Thank you, Miss Fulani, for exposing them. Piece by piece, the layer is being pulled apart, and we are figuring out exactly who they are. And we are going to figure out eventually who the person that questioned Archie's skin color. We will figure it out bit by bit. It's like an onion. It's the layers are being peeled and it's being pulled apart. We will find out. I will make another video to talk about archetypes and also the whole security situation with Meghan. Let me just talk about it here right then and there, because for the longest while Harry has been talking about how threats are being made on their lives, and they need security when they go to England. And it seems like it was falling on deaf ears. It was their words against the palace. It was their words against the Met Police, and there was nobody there to come to their defense. And thankfully that this man, who just recently retired from the Met Police, spoke up and talked about the threat, the day in and day out threat against Meghan, the real threat against them, the real threat against Harry that he spoke about and didn't want to happen to his wife as it happened to his mother. It's incredible that these cries, these wailing of wanting security has fallen on Chelsea's deaf ears. It is time that something is done. If they cannot be accountable, then it's time to do away with them. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Let's listen to this recording from Harry, from Meghan, and from the former counter-terrorism head of the Met Police. Let's listen to this hearing. This recording of what he said, and then we will talk about the people that have been tried and have been sentenced for threatening the Sussexes. Let's listen to him.
I will always protect my family, and now I have a family to protect. So everything that she went through and what happened to her is incredibly raw every single day, and that's not me being paranoid, that's just me not wanting a repeat of the past. And if anybody else knew what I knew, be it a father, be it a husband, be it anyone, you should probably be doing exactly what I'm doing as well.
You were in charge of royal protection. How would you characterise the threats that Meghan and Harry received?
Well, disgusting and very real. I've talked publicly for many years about the threat of extreme right-wing terrorism in this country. I've often been misquoted as taking my eye off the ball, as though I think that was the biggest threat. I've never called it the biggest threat, but it was the fastest growing. And my wonderful friend and counterpart at MI5 will tell you exactly the same thing, that when I started in CT in 2015... Counterterrorism, it was about 6% of our total workload. Certainly when I left 15, 16 months ago, it was over 20% of our workload.
But there were many serious, credible threats against Meghan, were there, emanating from the far right?
Absolutely. If you'd seen the stuff that was written and you were receiving it, the kind of rhetoric that's online, if you don't know what I know, you would feel under threat all of the time.
So you were convinced that there was a genuine threat to Meghan's life on on more than one occasion, on several occasions?
We had teams investigating it. People have been prosecuted for those threats.
It's very clear the protection of me or Archie is not a priority. I accept that. That is fine. Please keep my husband safe. I see the death threats. I see the racist propaganda. Please keep him safe. Please don't pull his security and announce to the world when he and we are most vulnerable. And they said it's just not possible.
I lost my mother to this self-manufactured rabidness, and obviously I'm determined not to lose the mother to my children to the same thing. And when I said in the mental health series many months ago that they won't stop until she's dead, that was I guess more of a.
So, as Harry said, if we knew the things that he knew, we would definitely understand. It's unbelievable how this man, and I'm sure Charles, have knowledge. I am sure he is briefed on the threats that Harry and Meghan are receiving on a daily basis. He is briefed on it, and he is turning his nose. He is ignoring the situation. As this man said, and I'm going to read two passages that I saw in an article. It said 2 British teenagers were handed jail sentences in 2019 on terror charges for making a series of neo-Nazi terrorist social media posts, including calling Harry a race traitor for marrying Meghan and threatening to assassinate Harry. Another one. Earlier this year, a pair of podcast hosts were put on trial in London for allegedly calling for Prince Harry to be judicially killed for treason over his marriage to Markle for having a mixed-race child whom prosecutors said the men called an abomination. So all of that stems from racism. Racism seems to be perpetuated in this Shutter Island. There is a lot of hate over there, and the biggest institution is the one that is, they're looking up to them literally. They're taking cues from the institution, which is the royal family. And that is the reason why we've seen those types of behaviors. It's incredible. It's just incredible. Anyways, let me, since I'm here, let me just talk about Meghan's last podcast. And it's just, and I cannot even be in the mood that I was when I was listening to the podcast, when I initially started putting together the video for the podcast. But anyways, if you haven't listened to the podcast, it was a great podcast. Meghan, at the urging of Harry, got three gentlemen to be part of the conversation of the different archetypes that she has been talking about. She had, let me get this, she had Trevor Noah, Andy Cohen, and Judd Apatow. And the episode was called Manifesting a Cultural Shift. And basically she was getting their points of view or their perspective on the different stereotypes that we have out there, and whether some of these stereotypes are being perpetuated, particularly with Andy Cohen's Real Housewives. You know, there's a lot of those types of stereotypes being used on those shows, and whether Andy's show was perpetuating those stereotypes. So she gave him a platform to talk about those stereotypes and whether or not. And also, you know, Judd, his different shows, since he's a producer of a television and the big screen as well, which are movies. So she was asking him about how he views those stereotypes and how they're portrayed in his productions. But the one I think that blew me away the most was Trevor Noah, and the way that he's able to deconstruct human beings, and he was able to so relate to those archetypes, because he was a person that was literally raised by women. And it's just so, fascinating how Trevor can go into the core of what the issues are, and and to be able to articulate what the issues are in terms of those archetypes. It was just beautiful to see. And another thing too that Meghan and Trevor has in common is that they both are interracial or biracial children. They both came from an interracial relationship. Both Meghan's and both parents being black and having white fathers. So it was just a dynamic conversation. If you haven't listened to it, go ahead and listen. And as I said, the quote that Meghan used, to summarize everything from, the first podcast to the last podcast. And it says here, "What didn't you do to bury me? But you forgot that I was a seed." She's rising. It's almost sort of reminds me of the poem that the Maya Angelou poem, "Still I Rise." Okay, so that was really good. And Meghan, of course, we saw a lovely photo of her from the Power of Women event that she went to at Central Indiana. I'm probably not even saying the words in order, but there was a lovely photo of her, and she had a green dress and a sort of like a fuchsia pair of shoes. It was just gorgeous. These colors, I love my colors. If you guys notice, I wear a lot of colors. And she had the green dress. Look at that. Meghan is bringing joy to me. All of a sudden, I started smiling. I didn't even realize I did not even realize that my mood just changed. Do you see the impact that somebody that is positive, somebody that makes the world a better place, have on other people? Do you see? All of a sudden I started to talk about Meghan and my mood changed. It just happened. It dawned on me, guys, that my mood just changed. Okay, but anyway, she had this green dress and this fuchsia, or it's like purplish pink shoes that was just gorgeous, you know, and it's sort of like, it was just beautiful. So I just saw one picture on Twitter of her. I haven't seen much, and I guess in due time, I guess they will release some of the photos, or maybe they did and I haven't seen them as yet. You know, I just came from work. I even have my jacket on because it was a little chilly and I left my jacket on. By the way, this jacket I got a long time ago in a thrift shop, and I've had it now for a couple of years. It's really good. I bet you can't find those things here nowadays because everything is an arm and a leg. But yes, I'm sure you guys heard that she partnered with the apparel company Kuyana, and they're going to give, you know, they specialize in accessories and bags, and they're going to give 500 bags to SmartWorks, and everybody knows already what SmartWorks is. Just in case if you're seeing the show for the first time, let me just let you know. So SmartWorks is a non-for-profit organization that supports women, and how they support women is that they train them for job interviews, and they also provide attires or outfits for them to go on interviews, and you know, they give them attires up to 1 month or until they get their first paycheck to go to work. So that's a really awesome organization that Meghan has been supporting from the time that she was in the United Kingdom. So that's really good that she was able to pair with Kuyana. I hope I'm saying it correctly. And to provide those bags so these women can put their resumes, they can put their little lipstick, their keys, whatever they have, they could put it in there, and you know, at the same time look, you know, like they're about to conquer and get this job. Okay, and then during Thanksgiving also, I had seen this photo of Meghan during Thanksgiving that they posted on Archwell. They talked about how they helped to make at least 300 sandwiches for a downtown women's center. And I saw the picture, the look, you know, the hands and everything reminded me of Meghan. I said, this is Meghan. But since they did not confirm that it was her, I sort of like, you know, sort of say, well, this is somebody that, you know, that was helping it at, you know, with the Archwell Foundation. But later on it was confirmed that this was Meghan. So that was nice to see that she was helping to make these sandwiches for during Thanksgiving for these women. And then Stormzy now is he is like telling people to leave Meghan alone. At least Stormzy have a conscience. At least Stormzy is in England and is speaking out. He's a public figure and he's speaking out. He's seeing what is going on and he is stepping up to the plate and saying, leave Meghan alone. A lot more people should be doing that over there in Shutter Island. Okay? That's a humanitarian right there. You know, he is conscious. He's a conscious singer. So he was explaining on a show why he made the song and why he's telling, you know, the press to leave Meghan alone. Let's listen to him.
The perfect example is leave Meghan alone. What the British tabloids will do with that is insane. And it's like, no, just leave her alone. Forget that she's the royal whatever. That's a woman just going about her life with her husband and has a kid. Trying to figure it out. You are just nasty and just being nasty to the woman, clear as day. Leave her alone. And they'll Stormzy stands by, and it's like, I guess I did, but yeah, sometimes what people can turn the things I say to, but it's not a burden or a curse. It's not like a negative. But on the day, perfect example is leave Meghan.
Stormzy has courage. We need more of these types of people in the world. People that will speak up. People that will confront other people. Those are the people that we need in this world. Guys, on that note, I hope, you know, I wasn't, in the beginning, I was a little bit, you know, upset, and I've calmed down, and you guys can see my Duchess has an impact on me. I started talking about her, started talking about her fashion, started talking about her look, and all of a sudden I just found myself smiling and calm. That is when you know that this person is a good person, and I am going to be fighting for her. I don't care what anybody says. Guys, take care, and I will see you next time in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and hit the notification bell so when an episode comes out, you will be the first to know. Bye.